The New York sky felt a little different this morning, as if it still held traces of warmth that had just faded away. Amid the hustle and bustle of a city that never sleeps, 7 figures long missed by the world finally closed their series of activities in the simplest, yet most meaningful way: togetherness. And among them, one figure once again captured attention in his own quiet, profound, and deeply expressive way: Kim Taehyung. After their highly anticipated special appearance on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, the members of BTS did not immediately rush back to their packed routines. Instead, that night turned into something far more personal. A casual dinner, initiated by the host Jimmy Fallon, became a warm closing moment before they left New York and returned to South Korea. There were no spotlights, no cameras capturing every movement, just laughter, light conversation, and a comfortable silence among people who had shared a long journey together. For many fans, it might be hard to imagine the atmosphere at that dinner table. But from various stories and fragments of interactions that surfaced, one thing felt clear: that night was not just an ordinary dinner. It was a space where the members of BTS could simply be themselves again, without the label of global superstars attached to every step they take. And that was where Taehyung shone in his own way. Known as a unique and multifaceted personality, Taehyung often shows unexpected sides of himself in public. Yet behind all that lies an emotional depth that is rarely fully revealed. In a warm setting like that dinner, many believe this side of him became most apparent. He is not the type to dominate conversations, but his presence always adds color. With his calm gaze and thoughtful way of speaking, Taehyung is known as someone who can steer conversations towards something more reflective. Moments like these offer a rare glimpse into how he truly thinks and feels. Some sources mention that their conversation that night touched on their experiences during military service, a phase that not only changed their routines, but also how they view life. Taehyung, who drew attention for his physical transformation during that time, seemed to have much to share. From someone with a soft, artistic aura, he appeared stronger and more muscular, a change visible not only physically, but also in the way he carried himself. What's interesting, however, is that after returning to the entertainment world, Taehyung seems to have found his balance again. He came back as a more mature version of himself, calmer, yet deeper. That dinner was likely one of the moments where he could express all of this without pressure. Perhaps about how he dealt with quiet days during service, or how he began to see his career and life from a different perspective. On the other side of the table, the other members brought their own stories. RM, known as both leader and thinker, may have guided the discussion with his reflective style. Jin with his warm humor, Suga with sharp yet honest remarks, and J-Hope with his ever-positive energy. Meanwhile, Jimin and Jungkook completed the atmosphere with their close and warm dynamic. Yet even in such strong togetherness, Taehyung still stood out in his own way, not with the loudest voice, but with the most felt presence. There is something about him that makes people want to listen longer. Maybe it's the way he chooses his words, or perhaps the way he remains silent, yet still speaks. The next day, the atmosphere at the New York airport felt different. Unlike their arrival, which was filled with overwhelming excitement, this departure felt calmer, as if everyone understood they had just completed something meaningful. The BTS members looked relaxed as they prepared to leave the city. There was no sense of rush, but also no hesitation. They knew this journey was only one part of a bigger chapter. Taehyung, as always, appeared effortlessly stylish. But behind his appearance was an expression hard to ignore, a mix of calmness and reflection. He was seen smiling softly at times, greeting fans who had waited faithfully. Yet there were also moments when he seemed lost in his own thoughts. Perhaps he was still thinking about the previous night's conversation. Or perhaps he was preparing himself for what comes next. Because their return to South Korea is not merely the end of their New York trip, it marks the beginning of a long-awaited new phase. BTS's comeback as a complete group after nearly 4 years is a historic moment. And in this comeback, Taehyung holds a particularly intriguing role to follow, especially with the release of their latest remix album, which presents various unique interpretations of a main track. Taehyung's version, with its atmospheric electronic touch, highlights his growing artistry. He doesn't just sing, he creates an atmosphere, and that is something that cannot be taught. Returning to that dinner moment, many fans feel that this is where the true essence lies. Not on grand stages or in extraordinary achievements, but in the small moments that shape who they truly are. Moments where they can laugh without reason. Moments where they can speak without filters. Moments where they can simply be 7 friends, not 7 global icons. And for Taehyung, moments like these seem to hold deeper meaning. He is the type of person who feels everything with a different intensity. Small things can become meaningful, and simple experiences can leave lasting impressions. Perhaps that is why so many people feel connected to him. He doesn't try to be perfect. He simply is himself. As the plane carrying BTS finally took off from New York, many felt that something had changed. Not in a dramatic way, but in something more subtle, like a new page beginning to unfold. And on that page, Kim Taehyung stands as one of the most compelling stories to follow. With all his complexity, his depth, and the beauty he brings in his own way. The journey is still long, but if their last night in New York taught anything, it is that behind all the spotlight and glamour, the most valuable things remain the simplest ones. Like sharing a meal, like honest conversations, and like a man named Kim Taehyung who continues to grow, not only as an artist, but as a human being. As a closing note, BTS's brief journey in New York felt like more than just a series of promotional schedules. Behind the dazzling performances and global attention, there was a much warmer story about togetherness, change, and simple moments that leave the deepest impressions. The casual dinner with Jimmy Fallon became a small symbol of genuine connection, not only between BTS and those around them, but also among the members who have gone through so much together. For Kim Taehyung, this moment felt like a reflection of the long journey he has taken. From the transformative period of military service to returning to the global stage as a more mature version of himself, Taehyung shows that growth does not always have to be striking. Sometimes it is felt in the way someone speaks, thinks, and appreciates the small things around them. Their return to South Korea is not an ending, but the beginning of a new chapter filled with anticipation. With major projects ahead and unwavering support from fans, BTS moves forward as a group that is not only stronger, but also more aware of the meaning of togetherness. And among all of that, Taehyung remains a magnetic presence, calm, mysterious, yet full of meaning. He is not just part of BTS's story, but also one of the reasons that story feels so alive. Because in the end, what makes this journey special is not only what they achieve, but how they live it together.